How are y'all doing? All right, so we're going to go through and we're going to talk about how you give the Sort R3 test. Here we go. So, what you're going to do is you're going to have the student scoring sheet, you are going to have the student word list, and you are going to have the table which gives the grade equivalent and age equivalent. So, everybody needs their score sheet. You will need to put the student's name at the top, date that they tested, and here are the directions on the back if you forget what you were doing. On the front, what you're going to do is you're going to put the student's name, you're going to put their age, and you are going to put what date you tested. You are going to start at list 2. What you want to do is start at list 2. Each list on this paper corresponds with the list that you have here. If you look at the bottom, you can see where it says list P, list 1, list 2. We're going to go through and we're going to start at list 2. You give this list to the students, and what they are going to do is they're going to read you the list of words. This is not timed or anything like that. There are 5-second start time. If you see that they are struggling, what the object is to figure out, we're starting with list 2. If they get all 20 words correctly, then you move to the next list, list 3. If they get all these 20 words, you move to the next list and to the next list, to where they come to a list where they have no knowledge of any of the words. They can't pronounce a single one of them correctly. If you start with list 2, and they do not get that word, those words, they can't pronounce any of those words, back it up to list 1 and then list P. On the score sheet, what you're going to do is you're going to mark the words that they got correctly. You're going to mark the words that they pronounced incorrectly. And at the bottom, you're going to get the total of which words they marked correctly. So, if you start with list 2 and they get all of list 2 correct, then you will give them 20 points for list P and list 1, because if they can pronounce those on list 2 correctly, they can pronounce the other ones on those other 2 lists correctly. You come down here, give them the 20 points, add it up, and that's where our table comes in. On the table, what you're going to do is you're going to find where the student scored. So, little Fred was able to make list P, list 1, 2, 3, 4, and at list 5 he topped out. He couldn't pronounce any of those words. So he got a 52. Even though it looks like a 25 on your side, it's a 52. So what I did is I'm going to this raw score that you see on this side, and I'm finding 52, which is right here. And I'm seeing what is that next grade equivalent, and he would fall under the 1.9. And then from there, I would see where does he fall age-wise, and it is 7.0. So I'm then taking the score sheet. So what I did was I found the raw score. I went down and figured out what the raw score was of how many they got correct until they hit their stop list. And then I figured out which one they were in. He was in between that 1.9 and that 2, so he went to 1.9. And then he was in between for the grade of age equivalency, so I went to 7.0. I then put that information at the top. What was the raw score, grade equivalent, age equivalent, and that's all that you need to do. All right, so summed up, start with list 2. If they can read all the words, go to the next list, list 3. If they cannot, back it up. You are going to mark on the score sheet which words they can pronounce, which words they cannot. When they come to a list that they cannot pronounce any of the words, that's where you stop. It should take about 10 to 15 minutes per kid. Thank you so much for helping out. If you have any questions, please give me a call.